I can look at Dimash and like his vocal range is ridiculous, but the way he performs is mesmerizing, and the messages in his songs are meaningful, and like Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Dr. Nick Analyzes. Today I'm going to do something super interesting. So I've been a fan of Dimash for quite some time now, and in the last batch of recordings I did a recording to his masterpiece, The Story of One Sky. Now in the comments of that video, some people said, you've got to watch the Almaty concert version. And I thought to myself, why? I've already seen like the cinematic version of it. Why would I need to go and watch the same song in a different format? But my experience of people leaving comments on my videos is that usually they ask me to look at things that are worth looking at. And so I'm basically here out of curiosity. I want to watch Dimash perform The Story of One Sky in the Almaty concert so that I can see what all the fuss is about, to see like why Dimash's dears are asking me to watch this version of the song. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Dimash has got in store for me. And I've also not seen any of the Almaty concert, and so this is all brand new for me. I hope you like my reaction.
Ұлт жоқ негізі. Әлемде тыныштық болсыншы, бейбітшілік болсын, соғыс болмасын. Ешбір халық, ешбір ұлт, ешбір ел зардап шекпесін. Сол себептен келесі орындалатын шығарма бір аспан тағдыры деп аталады. The Story of One Sky. Сіздердің құрметтеріңізге абаңыздар.
Believe what's happening at all. Hyper's crazy, we reborn to fall.
What's interesting about watching, so two things have jumped out to me so far. One is Dimash has always given off this sense of not buying into his own greatness, but being sort of like interested in humanity flourishing. I don't think he cares at all about different nationalities, and I don't think he cares about wealth, and I think he just cares about the welfare of people. And so it doesn't surprise me that, you know, I left that on purpose, the first screen here where he talks about like let no people suffer. So I think that just gives us an insight into who Dimash is and what he's about. When I watched Story of One Sky, the cinematic version, I wasn't really focused on his voice. In fact, I think that we had a conversation about how like I wasn't thinking about his voice, and actually that whole thing wasn't about his voice. The first thing that jumped into my head as I watched this was, oh, his voice is beautiful. Isn't it funny how now in this context, that's the thing my attention is drawn to?
Billions of hearts, billions of cells and souls and dreams, billions of lives shouldn't ever turn blue senses horror.
He was clever then with that language. He was like billions of lives, but also billions of cells and whatnot. And I think like the function or the purpose of speaking that way was to align every human being. It was basically to send the message, we're all exactly the same, and so why are we spending so much time fighting each other so arbitrarily and so needlessly? Like, we're all coordinated, we're all part of the same thing here.
chance is here. Can we balance on the edge of your embrace? Our future is impossible to say. So when all the birds and vipers falling, we decide to stop the dreaming. We decide to follow them. We are making final thought to run. We are choosing love.
See those people then in the audience? They it's like they weren't there for entertainment, you know. They'd bought into the message of the song. So it almost like it stops being a song, doesn't it, when people are responding to it as basically a political message or a message of compassion and love. I think they're buying into the message of the song, not necessarily thinking, hey, I'm being entertained by a music artist here. It wasn't that like there was a real solemnness in the way that they were holding themselves then, that suggests that the song is functioning in a really interesting way with the people that are listening to it. You know, these people have turned up for entertainment. They're here to be entertained by a musical artist, and yet this song, it seems to sort of like put people in a trance almost about, like, you know, war and death and humanity and the state that we're in places.
We are choosing love. Learn to share again. Learn to share again. The love that shares. Learn to live again. We have passed the moment of invention. Walk in the peace. Do we have to step? Time is up, it's time to set the Here is last chance. Can we balance on the edge of your regret? Our future is impossible to save. Oh, when all the great survivors falling, we decide to stop the tragedy. We decide to follow their light. Here is last chance. Can we balance on the edge of your regret? Our future is impossible to save. So when all the great survivors falling, we decide to stop the tragedy. We're making final turn from wrong to right. Just our final turn from wrong to right. There's losing love. We go choosing love.
I'm a bit mesmerized by him, really. Like, as I was watching this, I was thinking, is there a more worthy global phenomenon than Dimash right now? Is there a better all-round pop star, musical star? You know, I think, you know, when Michael Jackson was at the height of his powers, there was an aura to, like, the way that he held himself and the way that he performed that just it mesmerized people, and he managed to attract an audience across the age range. Everybody got something from watching Michael Jackson. And I can look at Dimash and like his vocal range is ridiculous, but the way he performs is mesmerizing, and the messages in his songs are meaningful. And like I don't know, it feels like he's worthy to hold the position of being a global phenomenon. And like I know that obviously he's really well known in certain parts of the world, but in other parts of the world, I doubt he's well known at all. Like before I came to YouTube, I'd never heard of him in the UK, but it just feels like I should have someone that has those components, that has the voice, that has the mesmerizing stage presence, but also has the character and the sort of like the meaningful lyrics and message in his music and stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if he just becomes this sort of like a globally known superstar. And I think he'd be worthy of it, and I think the world would be better off for it as well. Like the messages and the lyrics. I struggle with the crazy Piper line. I'm not really sure. I assume it's sort of like pointing to the Pied Piper in the fairy tales in some way, but maybe there's some other meaning there. Feel free to write that in the comments. Like, what does he mean by the Piper? But like, I can get the gist of the all-round message, which is that we live in a world these days where we're all fighting for resource, more or less. And yeah, there's enough resource for everyone to have what they need in order to be able to survive, which Dimash is basically saying this is madness. It is madness that we're all fighting for resource when there's enough for everybody. We've just got to learn to sort of like share and not sort of like live in this world, this competitive world where we're all trying to outdo each other by having the best things, because that unfortunately involves trampling on other people, which just isn't good for the world. It's not good for people's physical health, but it's also not good for people's mental health to always be in competition with our fellow man relative to being supported by and supporting our fellow man. Right, let's put it back on. The story of one sky, right? Let's think about what that means. The story of one sky. We all exist under one sky together. There's so much division in the world that seeks to separate people, and yet fundamentally we're all exactly the same, irrespective of our color or our sexuality or whatever. You know, we all sit and look up at the same one sky. I love how he's got that into his song as well. Like even the way that he's singing now, it's almost like a Middle Eastern type of sound. I lived in Turkey for a while, and you'd hear this sort of music, this sort of singing. So he's bringing different genres and different types of singing and different stories and different symbols from different cultures all into one place and saying, you know, we're all the same. We're all the same. There's no need for such division. And that's got more of an Eastern feel to it, right? That has. And but the range there, by the way, like the lower part of his range, flipping heck. I can't understand how he's managing to hit every note in such a complex song live. Like, it's been flawless, but it's live. It doesn't make any sense. Like, obviously, when you do music videos, you can just cut and edit stuff and make it look like it's flawless, right? But it's been flawless and it's live. It doesn't sort of like, and there's so many different parts to the song and so many different ranges that are needed and so many different words that are needed. Like, I even just like intellectually, I'm thinking, this is a lot for a person to hold all this, you know? This takes me back to a more like a Catholicism way of being in church, like sort of like a choir boy sort of voice. Okay, pipers lead us to the slaughter long enough. So like this piper's idea. So you think of like the fairy tale of the Pied Piper. It led to an automaticity in the way that the rats and the children followed him. We sort of like, we go without thinking, we just follow. And I guess what Dimash is saying is that we've done that for long enough, followed people with policies and with systems and a way of being in society that has led us to this place, and it needs to stop now. I assume it's an attack on like more of a capitalistic position and the way that we fight for resource. And he's saying, look, it needs to be something different to that. It needs to not be this. And he's probably pushing for more of a compassionate way of being in society, more of a connection, more of like a sacrifice in personal gain sometimes in the pursuit of like collective gain. I wonder why he like a lot of the wordage and the rhetoric around here is sort of the fact that time is running out. The fact that time is running out. I wonder why he thinks time is running out. Why now this song? What has he seen in the last 30 years that has made him think, oh God, things are accelerating, things are getting bad? I wonder if it's climate. I wonder if like part of the messages from scientists about the irreversible effects of climate change are a little bit scary. I wonder if it's like an increase in the amount of conflict and wars throughout the place that are just making them think we're on the precipice here, and like we need to do something quick now, because there's like there's an urgency to this song that I'm picking up that makes me think that at least in his perspective, something needs to happen quickly. And that sort of, I don't know, it aligns with the thoughts of different politicians and different leaders and different scientists that I know as well. For some reason, people think we're reaching a point, not a point of no return, but we're reaching a point where we really need to do something different, because otherwise the path that we're walking on is going to be bad for everyone.
gözüm ayva. We need peace.
Now I understand why you asked me to watch it. Because I enjoyed that significantly more. And I really enjoyed the cinematic version. I really did. And they were parts of the cinematic version that weren't there. You know, the story between the three kids and whatnot. And it's so funny, isn't it? That like my reaction to the Story of One Sky cinematic version was that the words and the story that was happening on the screen were linked together. And yet today I watched that and I saw the words on the screen and I didn't think at all about three little kids and a penchant and going through life and stuff. So it's interesting how that was decoupled. Yeah. But the reason why I loved it more than the cinematic version was the delivery and the passion in his performance, the passion at the end there. He meant that. He like this, you know, this isn't just a pop star trying to get ahead. This isn't someone trying to make money. Like, he meant that. And like the passion of the performance and the ability to do that live and the ability to get like that solemn feeling among the people that are watching transcends it above a pop song, above a song. It makes it a manifesto. That's a manifesto for change, a manifesto for doing things better, for not mindlessly following the pipers or the politicians and stop trailing them, is what he said, and to turn away and to turn towards the light a little bit more. You know, like I said in the last video, I think like how to do that. You know, I'm not really sure, but it feels like what he's saying is we as the paupers, we as the rats in the Pied Piper tale, we need to stand up and start taking responsibility for who we follow and how much we follow them and stuff. You know, it's easier said than done because the people that are the pipers, they make the rules and they set the systems and the systems control us somewhat. But you know, Dimash's will to change things for the better is certainly admirable, and I'd like to see his passion for it was just. I was mesmerized by it. It was like I was in a trance a little bit by his performance there. It was super special. I don't think I've ever seen a live performance that I found that special. And maybe later on I'll be like, oh, there was that live performance by that live person that was really good, but just like that was super special. And so yeah, thank you for pointing me towards the Almaty version of the Story of One Sky. Is probably the best thing I'll do all day would be to watch that video and see Dimash's passion there. If there are more Dimash songs that you want me to react to, then put them in the comments. And thanks so much for your time and your attention. Take care. Bye bye. Yeah, that's mad. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it that much because I'd already seen it. I'd already seen I thought the cinematic version, what else can I get from this? Do you know what I mean? But just like his vocal range and his passion when he sings, it makes it such a special, unique sort of experience there of watching that, and to see like all the people in the audience and all the different ages and stuff that are all connecting with the message of it. Just there's something that makes it not a pop song and not just a song. It makes it something else. Do you know what I mean? Could you hear it through the microphone? Through the things?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that when I talk with clients is that what's on screen and what is heard have a direct effect on how everything is perceived.
Yeah.
So like you were saying that there's a visual story that then you tie to a song.
Yeah.
But then when you remove that, it's a different meaning.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm a tiny bit conflicted.
Yeah.
So the message
Yeah.
It's really interesting, the story, the message and
Yeah.
everything. That part I love.
Yeah.
It sounded a tiny bit too perfect for me.
Yeah.
For a live, because
Yeah.
he's either incredibly
Yeah.
talented,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the moments where he's running around on stage, and I can only I gotta listen to it again because I could only hear, but from what I could hear from the headphones, the pitch
Yeah.
wasn't wavering.
Yeah.
So you know, like when you
You
move the
run, you-
microphone,
yeah, yeah,
you get this
Yeah.
this tiny bit of not waviness, but there's that bit. It just felt perfect. So he's either got phenomenal.
Yeah. I
Um,
wonder what will come back in the comments about whether that the audio on the YouTube video is the actual audio that was sang.
because that to me, there's no I'm not bothered about that at all. But one of the things that you've got to be careful in the concert, if you're in the
Yeah.
concert, that must be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then if you're creating a video off the
Video.
back of that, and then you got close cameras,
Yeah.
my advice would be is the moments where he's a bit more frenetic,
Yeah.
do a wider shot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because when he was close in and it was slower, what have you, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But then the bits where he was running about and the
Yeah.
microphone, I was just like, what I'm seeing
was hear
there
that.
and then what I'm hearing there.
Yeah.
This,
I wonder.
but that's just from a cinematography. But
Yeah.
going back to what you said about the message,
Yeah.
spot on.
Spot on. Yeah. Exactly.
Because I didn't even think once about the kid,
No.
once about the guy
No.
as an adult
No.
and him being shot and it being
Yeah.
in war
No.
at all.
And yet the message was still really powerful without all of the backstory that they put into that video.
And it's
Yeah.
funny, we shape our own reality based on our own life experiences, but it's also true of the other fact is that you can influence reality by
Yeah.
what you show and what you hear
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So it's mad how all that plays.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see it in a different context
Yeah.
rather than
Well,
because
my
now,
experience of it was different.
yeah,
Despite it being the same song.
Yeah.
Which is mad. In some ways, that was simpler.
Yeah.
It was simpler to just look at the words and his passion, relative to the words, his passion, and a story. Trying to
because you're
figure
trying
it
to
all out.
yeah,
Do you
you're
know
trying to
what I
work out the visual
Yeah.
element and
Exactly,
because
yeah.
there's visual cues and visual
Yeah.
themes and
Yeah.
about religion and everything
Yeah.
that transcend the words, and then
Yeah.
it just then the song becomes a backing track.
Yeah, exactly. Which is and whereas in that situation, the song was
The focus.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.